they've had an incredible 20 years or so, and this is a club that has won trophy upon trophy. But I'm still thinking that if I was a Chelsea fan hearing my interim manager say I'm not hurting right now, I'd be a bit disappointed because the fans are hurting.
Yeah.
So you would expect your manager, who is meant to bleed Chelsea, to be a little hurt about what's going on right now.
Yeah, and it's
maybe
coming at all angles, isn't it? It's coming, there's pressure that's going on to the owners of the football club. There's pressure on the players who are being questioned about their attitude, and that's really strange to me, because if you go through their team, they're full of internationals and players who have won things and been successful, and suddenly they don't care about football. Don't buy that at all. And then,
so this is because people are saying they're looking disinterested.
Yeah, I think that's... Right. Look, Sterling's playing really poorly, okay? Raheem Sterling's playing poorly. I don't think he knows what he's meant to be doing on the football field. Now, that might be strange for people on the outside to listen, because you need direction from a manager. Yeah, Pep Guardiola, which we talked about earlier, who basically you had to do the things he instilled in you, the way you need to play football. And when he was at Liverpool, Raheem was a very young, raw lad that had to learn his game, like every young player. Learn your game, develop. He was an incredible forward line. You know, Suarez in that forward line. And then Daniel Sturridge, who was playing his best football. And then Raheem, the three of them. And he's sort of that, you know, being young, having a go, taking people on. Got him a move to Man City, become far more accomplished. He's won 4 Premier League titles. And now suddenly he doesn't care about football. Now he's playing really poorly. I don't think he knows what he's meant to be doing on the football field. He suddenly had a manager that everything was directed to him. He knew his game. He'd get double digits in goals all the time. And now suddenly he can't play football. Look, this is not personal, but the Lampard appointment, as you know, when we first talked about it, I was like, I just don't get that. I just don't. He might have earned his stripes as a player and terrific as being a footballer, but he hasn't earned his stripes as a manager to become the Chelsea manager for the second time.
I think that is the difference, isn't it? If this was his first managerial gig, we might all be going, let's go easy on him. No, because I think there were a lot of eyebrows raised when they appointed him as this interim boss, because his obviously first time at Chelsea didn't end well. His time at Everton didn't go well at all in the end either. So it did raise a few eyebrows that they decided to go back in for Frank Lampard. And then you're reading articles about how James Corden has had a part to say in all of this.
That's just ludicrous. That's just bonkers.
Just maybe goes to show how the ownership itself is bonkers right now.
Well, think of the game in midweek against Arsenal. Yeah. Okay? Now, I would have expected when you can't win a game, that first of all, you make it as difficult as you can, and you set up that we talked about space and being exploited when you have space. Chelsea was stretched everywhere all over the pitch against Arsenal. Like, Fafana was miles away from Thiago Silva. Now, okay, players, there are players that can manage the game themselves, and, they've been in football long enough, and I've played with enough that will pull players together, make sure they're alongside each other. Now, that's not a team that's being coached on the training ground. Now, when he first got the job, Frank said, I haven't got time, because game after game, so quickly, understand that, you still got to do your coaching on the sideline. And he'll say to us, yes, I did. I have done. I haven't been around the training ground. But what I'm witnessing on the football pitch is a team that in every department, no one knows what each other's meant to be doing.
But this is the same team that Graham Potter worked with, and that didn't end well either.
No.
Thomas Tuchel likewise. So this is obviously their third manager they have at Stamford Bridge. So as much as you're saying they don't look coached, are you arguing then that the same for Graham Potter? Are you arguing the same for Thomas Tuchel?
Well, look, they're two different scenarios. Graham Potter was always a conservative manager. He always played in a certain style, okay? Frank Lampard's trying to find a way of instilling something different into a team, but I don't know what they're meant to do when they've got the ball. I'm looking at them and thinking they don't really know what they're meant to do when they've got the ball. They don't really know when they lose the ball, how to get it back. And when they do get it, they then give it back to the opposition straight away. Players are playing out. N'Golo Kante has never been an attacking midfielder or playing that position. João Felix can't get in. How can Aubameyang be in the team in front of Havertz and João Felix? I know that's personal choice now, but what has he done to deserve to be in the team?
But is that not Lampard just going, look, it's not worked previously, I've got to try something else? So he's just gone down the Aubameyang route in that particular instance.
Well, he's done the cardinal sin as a manager. when you go into a football club, you decide your best 11. You've got only a number of games to play.
Yeah,
you stick to it.
If it's not winning, you have to change something.
Yeah, well, Nat, if you keep literally throwing it up in the air, spinning plates on your team, expect the worst. I don't see anything positive in when I watch Chelsea. I'd love to come on here and say, I'll tell you what, Lampard made a few cute decisions there. He's taken Aubameyang off after 45 minutes. I think Conor Gallagher was taken off in the previous game against Brentford after 45 minutes. You know, you're getting things wrong. Now, this isn't all on Frank. It's part of he's compounded the problem because he's made the team worse. He's made a complete pig's ear of his Chelsea experience at the moment.
How much of the blame lays with the owners?
Well, because they appointed him. And,
well, not just that, but also the ridiculous spending and the ridiculous amount of players that they brought in that, you know, in a way, maybe Frank Lampard is walking in every day going, I have so many players to work with. I've got to try and make them all happy in some way. Yeah,
I get that. But you've got to organise them. Your job's not just 25 players and how do I get on with them and how do I manage them. It's all about how do I put them together and they fit so they complement each other on the football field, Nat. When you do partnership, when I see Fafana a million miles away from where Thiago Silva is, and I think, well, why is he there? Why Chelsea getting so stretched on every opportunity? And then you go through the team and you go, we've got World Cup winner. N'Golo Kante will run all day for you. But everybody who's watched N'Golo over the last 10 years, 12, 15 years, know he's a fantastic holding midfielder who's now playing really poorly. He's a top player, been injured. Okay, I get why you might have to take him out the firing line at times. Kovacic, how many international caps has he got? Thiago Silva, you know, look at him as a player. Ben Chilwell, left back for England. Raheem Sterling, best player, or certainly arguably in the Euros, the best player for England. Why are so many of them playing poorly? It's not they don't care. I have always said the best teams who are managed upstairs by a great manager will see things that make them better.
If this was an audition for Frank Lampard to either get the Chelsea job permanently or indeed just to get another job, it's not going particularly well, is it? His reputation, how much is it going to be damaged as things stand by what's happening at Chelsea?
Well, of course it's going to be... Look, let's get it right, he's had 3 glorious opportunities. Derby is a terrific club which was in the Championship at the time. That was a great opportunity as your first job. And then getting the Chelsea job with the embargo and all the difficulties, that was his best time as a manager. But what's happened afterwards... And, you know, clearly the case at Everton as well, how the demise of Everton, Franks couldn't seem to fix a problem. That was my concern. If you're a manager, you have to fix problems. Sam Allardyce has been called into Leeds to fix a problem. If you show you can't do that, Sam Allardyce has got 360 minutes to fix a problem. Frank's had 10 games, right, or going to get to the end of the season. Think of the Real Madrid, the performances, 2-0 at home and 2-0 away. Both defeats, both went out in the obvious manner of way Chelsea get beat. Frank hasn't fixed any problems. That's what his job is to do.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying, that reputationally it's not turning out to be a good move for Chelsea. And as I mentioned, Cass, this may be ludicrous, but I'm just going to throw this out here just for fun. What are they, 9 points clear of the relegation zone? Should Chelsea be worried? No,
they'll get enough. They've got enough, Nat.
But have they?
Look, I get...
What have you seen? I mean, they're going to Bournemouth today. And Bournemouth are showing fight. They are showing character and spirit. But now they're
basically safe, Bournemouth, aren't they?
Well, they're on the same points as Chelsea.
I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea got something today. But it's been... Look, and there'll be fans who will stick up for Frankie's as in, look, I know they've had injuries. They've got an enormous squad. If you can't find 11 players to go onto the pitch and be competitive, then you're doing something wrong. They've got a luxury of talent there. Just make sure you find the right... gel them together. You know... Steven Gerrard had this problem at Aston Villa.
I was thinking of that exactly.
Steven Gerrard had done really poorly with a very talented group of players, and not as good as Chelsea's. But as soon as Unai Emery walked into the football club, he identified his best 11 and then who worked best with who. Danny Ings was allowed to leave the football club.
Well,
okay.
I know what you're saying, but you could also argue that maybe, and this is just a maybe, and it's just my opinion, that there were maybe more personal stuff going on at Villa for Steven Gerrard, for example, than there are Unai Emery. Because look at the Tyrone Mings situation with Steven Gerrard. wasn't the captain, deemed not as important to the team, really. Even though Steven Gerrard made the point of saying, look, I've taken the captaincy of him so that he can concentrate on his football. But now, we're speaking to Rupert Bell, Villa fan, he's saying he's one of our players of the season.
Exactly.
Another transformation.
That undermines Steven Gerrard.
Well, it does.
Unlike what's happening to Frank Lampard, is being the same. But it's the same, Nat, as me playing football. If I play badly for a team, I got criticised. I got stick. People questioned my game. And rightly so. The only way I could answer them is to fix my game. Chelsea are not being fixed by Frank Lampard.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.